righty, welcome. We're in the pit today, and we're here to just raise all kind of fuss. What you doing back there, John?
I'm raising fuss.
Raising fuss.
Yep.
And why is it so cold in here today?
Because the heat was lowered. Because the other day the weather decided it was going to be warm. See, it's like things in Michigan. You could see all four seasons
in one day.
One day. Yep.
Well, anyways, today I want to welcome my guest, Miss Mirium Marks-McKeown, and I'm so happy I said her name right. I kept saying it in the back of my mind because I already had been saying it wrong forever. So she's here today because she's got this big event that's coming up. It's the third annual event for veterans. So we're going to talk about the stand down because I really don't know what stand down mean, and I'm not a veteran, so I guess it's good that I'm a novice because now I can soak it all in and I'll understand more. Because when you hear bits and pieces of, the stand down, I'm like, I don't even know what that is. So why is it called a stand down, first of all?
Well, it's an event that was started in 1988 by a group of Vietnam veterans to service homeless veterans and their families. And it's grown since then, and basically it's usually hosted for 3 days, between 1 to 3 days.
Right.
And we we stay in one spot
for 3 days.
For 3 days.
That's a party.
And we serve veterans. Now, in Genesee County, we're only doing it for 1 day. But we still have the same good time. We still service our veterans. I'm a veteran myself, so I like to make sure that everything is going the way it should.
Right.
And we just have a good time with our veterans and the organizations that come and collaborate with us. We just have a good time servicing our veterans.
So the program, the Veteran Stand Down, is it an event where veterans come to just mingle, meet other vets, or is there a specific purpose for the stand down?
Well, the purpose for the stand down, not only is it for veterans to come and meet other veterans and to see that they're not alone, but we offer services, resources, information, assistance, such as if they need housing, we either can direct them to a housing resource or actually get them into housing. We offer clothing and financial education, educational benefits, services for their families. DHS will be there.
Oh, okay. So you have like vendors with different services.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So because I'm thinking when you say like you need counseling, you have someone from DHS there that probably have counselors or whatever.
From VA.
Oh, from VA. Okay.
We actually collaborate with local area VA hospitals, and we use the resources there so that veterans will know, hey, I can go to a VA hospital and get these services. I just need to sign up for veteran health care and you can get the services and the thing about it is being eligible.
Right.
And
now that's a lot of things that I have a problem with the veterans not getting help. Even though I'm not a veteran, I see a lot of them on the streets and a lot of them are homeless, and once they go over wherever they send them and they come back, a lot of them are never the same. So how do you not qualify for the services?
Some veterans, it depends on, as far as VA healthcare, there are different criteria that you must meet. So most veterans will qualify, but then you have some that may not qualify because of dishonorable discharges or things like that. So those cases are unfortunate.
Right.
But for the most part, you have veterans that will receive care.
So the ones that are on the street, do you think that's those are the people that don't know about the services, or something else is going on? Because I see several in my area that just wanders the street all the time. And I'm guessing they're veterans because some of them have a sign to say I'm a veteran.
But we really have to be careful because there are we have those instances where the person may not be a veteran.
Right.
But
They just use the sign to get some help, or
they may have on the camouflage clothing,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
available
Anywhere.
But for those that are actually veterans, it may be something else going on mentally.
Mental
and those
health.
if they're not getting the transitional services that they need so that they can reintegrate back into the civilian world,
Right.
quote unquote. It's a hard task. It's a hard issue to deal with and to solve,
Right.
basically, because that person has to want the help. We can't force it on them. They have to want it.
So how did you get started in this program, and how far does it go back with you involved?
Well, I became involved with the veteran, the whole issue of everything in 2013 as an AmeriCorps. I applied to AmeriCorps, and I was assigned to United Way here in Genesee County. And at that time, I was the only veteran AmeriCorps doing what I was doing, which was to sign veterans up for veteran health care and using the 1010 EZ form. And then it progressed from there. I had veterans calling me for all different sorts of issues. And so I talked with my director and Phil Yeater at that time. And he said, make it your own. And so that's what I did. And so I just...
That's like giving you the carte blanche and say, go ahead and do what you need to do.
Yes. So I started directing. I started doing a lot of research in finding veterans resources that they needed, different organizations that could help them, and pointing them to different veteran service officers, and also the Genesee County Department of Veteran Services downtown, just to make sure that I was doing what I could do as a veteran to help my fellow veteran.
Right.
And so it went from there, and then I started doing events I did a veteran healthcare super fair over at Mott. Mott was a gracious sponsor. And then from there, I said, I want to do a stand down. And that's how I got started.
And that just brings people in from all over.
From all over. Every organization that was interested in helping serve veterans, they came. They registered, and they came in. We had them registered last year it was May 30th. And this year, again, it's May 30th to register. We do take some after that time, depending on what the resource is. But so that we can make sure everything is organized and in its place. That was our deadline. But we just had a really good time. And last year we served 267 veterans. And that included the veterans and their family members if they came and needed help.
Oh,
so
how do they know about it if they, how some people don't do internet, they don't watch TV, so how would they know if this is like their first time? And when you have it for a couple days, who provides housing? Where do they stay? If they're from out of town, even in town, if they don't have family, where do they stay?
Well, if we're doing it locally, if they are from out of town, they can stay at any of the hotels. We can see if we can make arrangements with hotels.
Right.
That is something that we haven't done in the past. We haven't had to.
Oh, okay.
But that's something for us to think about in the future.
Yeah, because when you have the 3 days,
But that's one of the reasons we only host it for one day.
Yeah.
And if it gets larger, then I'm hoping we can possibly hold it for more than one day.
And I'm pretty sure some of the hotels would be willing to, how you block out rooms for concerts. You might as well block out room for veterans.
That's right.
And give you discounted rate. Now, when you do an event like that, you have to have sponsors. Does it cost you anything to to help pay for this? I mean, where do you guys get the food and everything? Is everything donated from sponsorship?
Everything is donated. We have sponsors. GCCARD is one of our sponsors. They've been a sponsor for us for 2 years. The VFW in Burton on Belsey Road.
Yes, where that big cannon is, or the tank.
Yes, exactly. With Mr. Bob Wilson, he is a part of that VFW, and his VFW sponsors us. And then we have other organizations such as Of Impact. I have a new organization, Inspired Expressions, and My Brother's Keeper. They've been sponsors in the past, and presently GCARD and VFW, Of Impact, and Inspired Expressions at this time, and DHS at this time.
Right. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a big event. And I was looking at the flyer, and it says, you're going to have events, kids to play and everything. So where is it going to be that you're going to have this room? Because if you have like such a big event, I mean, are they inside or are they outside?
Well, this event is hosted inside. Is at GCARD, which is located at 601 North Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan.
Is that the building with the red?
Yes, it's gray with the red.
Yeah, with the red. Yeah, that's how I recognize it.
Yes, and it's actually located right across the street from the University of Michigan, and which University of Michigan has been a sponsor of ours in the past also.
Yeah, that's where I retired from.
And, okay.
Not a veteran, just a retiree.
So yeah, our plan is to have a good time. We are going to serve food. In the past, we have had a play area for the kids. This year, we're not going to do that because the space is limited.
Right.
But we will have vendors there that will have something for the families. And we'll have clothing and DHS, legal services, Vet Biz Central should be there for business opportunities or veterans that are looking into starting their own business.
Oh, okay. I know you provide that. Now that would be a good thing, because if they were going to start something here and they needed a building, we got plenty buildings.
Okay.
There's plenty buildings around here. You would just think that that would be something that, like, city, state, federal government, whatever. Now, do they help with any of that? Like, does the federal government help with any of these events where they're helping vets get transition back into society, or is this just you guys all on your own?
Well, it depends on which federal government entity will be there. HUD is usually there.
Okay, so that's for the housing part.
For the
of
housing
it.
part, HUD is usually there.
And that's one of the biggest problems I see with it too, is housing and getting some money. Because do veterans get money once they come out? Can they afford housing, or how does that work?
Well, it depends. Being a veteran it's a little different than being a civilian. You get paid a salary, a biweekly salary, and the veteran has to know he or she has to save money also.
Right.
In order to that one day you're going to transition out. If it's not either by discharge, honorable discharge, or if you retire out. If you retire out, you're going to get a monthly income from retirement pay or pension. Some veterans may receive compensation in the form of disability, and then there are others, once they get out, they've saved money. Those that haven't transitioned into that civilian way of life, they may have a hard time. But then the one thing that I wasn't aware of when I got out as a veteran is that you could apply for unemployment.
Oh.
And that's
I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
because I figured they just give you fat pension for the rest of your life.
No.
Oh,
it depends on when you retire. It depends on the situation. Some veterans will receive a pension because they're retiring out.
Right.
And then there are those that may have gotten out early, but once they turn 65, they can receive some sort of a pension. It depends on it. Each veteran has a different situation. So it just depends on that situation and how their financial situation is for them.
Is it different for each branch of the military, or pretty much across the board?
Pretty much
how it
across the
works.
board.
So now, when we're talking about housing, a friend of ours was trying to get, for the female veterans, trying to get housing and going with like the big house, like a communal house. So do you think it would be easier to find separate houses for people, because there are a lot of landlords that have just empty houses sitting around doing nothing? Do you think that would be something to look into versus trying to get, like, say, one big house that everybody...
Well, it depends on the veteran or the group of veterans, their state of mind and their financial situation, how if they're able to handle finances correctly, if they're able to mentally take care of a home, that responsibility. So it just depends. I would say, for me personally, a person that is going through transitional phases, whether they have some type of mental situation or abuse situation, whether it be drugs or alcohol or whatever that situation may be, maybe a group setting would be better for them.
Okay.
And those that are not going through those type of issues and they may have children, maybe a single home would be better.
Yeah, I would want my privacy. I would be terrible in a communal housing. I'd be like, pick that up. I'd be in there like a house mom or something. You got to clean that up.
Yes.
So, and you've been doing this for a number of years, and where do you see this kind of thing going in the future? You're seeing it like exploding, and where you're going to have to like get your own place, own building that you can do this every year with no problem. Now that would be ideal.
Yes, that's my plan.
Do you have to search around to find a place each year now to have it, or Well,
so far, GCCARD has been very gracious in letting us use their place. I've also contacted Riverfront Banquet Center.
Yeah.
And I've had an event at Mott Community College. So the places that I do, the stand down, I want to make sure that it stays downtown, in downtown Flint.
Right.
And so with that being said, there are a handful of places that I can choose from, just making sure that the date is available.
Right.
And so the stand down, we host the stand down in June, and it's usually the second or third week of the month. And so we try and make sure we contact a venue early on to make sure that we have that in place for next year.
Well, you also, I would think, would have to make sure that it's handicapable.
Yep, handicap capable, yes.
Because you never know what the veteran situations are. Because I know I'm terrible with steps.
Yeah, that's each venue that I choose, I make sure that it's handicap accessible. And we are, for instance, our first stand down was under the ice rink at the U of M.
Yeah. And
I said, we have to make sure it's handicap accessible. And they have that handicap ramp that comes around. So
yeah,
that was a blessing for us. And so that's one of the priorities that I look for, is making sure it's handicap accessible because of our veterans that are disabled.
Right. Now, what kind of activities is there other than like the vendors? Like when you said at the skating rink, now I could see them ice skating. It's like, do you have some activities planned aside from like balloons for the kids and stuff like that?
Well, what we do, we let our veterans, they go to each vendor, and if they, whatever services that they may need, they are allowed to take care of that situation or issue. And we hold, I call it a raffle, but it's not a raffle because they're not paying for anything. We just we pass
Give
out
them
tickets,
tickets, yeah.
and then they can win prizes, or such as they might win. Who knows? Whatever sponsor
card or
donates
something. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they win.
Mm-hmm.
We do that to have fun. We also last year we had a drum corps.
Oh,
And
from the schools.
From one of the area schools, we had a drum corps, and we just we have an introduction of each organization so that every organization knows what the other organization is doing and what they offer. So I make sure that we have that every single year.
So you have speakers come in or anything like that?
We have veteran speakers come in. They tell us their story and what they've been through, how their lives have changed, whether it's for good or bad, and hopefully for good.
Right.
And we listen to their story. We have this year we're going to have speakers, and we're going to try and do a movie projection, where our vendors and our veterans can see our past events and different veterans that are within each organization.
Right. So now, do you ever have anybody from like the organization, like the Wounded Warriors, like you have any celebrity star power that ever pops in? I mean, that would be awesome, but
That would be awesome. We haven't had that yet, and
maybe some comedy relief.
one of my I have this really I try to dream big, and I have this dream that either Chuck Norris or one of the other celebrity veterans will or football players will come and visit with us, and
that would be cool to
encourage.
have a couple, somebody from sports, and have your comedian. He doesn't have to be a veteran. He just had to be funny, but keep it clean.
And positive.
Right, positive. Bring Ricky Smiley in with that big shoe. When he puts that shoe on, I crack up because I'm like, come on. Now he was here for the water. You would think that he could come in for something like that, and he probably could if ask him in advance and say I cook you some peach cobbler or something.
Something. Just come on down and encourage us.
Right. But so you plan the event, like when this one ends, you'll start planning for the next one, basically, or like a year in advance.
A year in advance. So basically, when this event ends, we do our data analysis where we get our numbers, and we send a report to VA. And after we've sent that report to VA, then they send us word of what they heard about the event, and so far we have gotten outstanding reviews.
Oh, that's wonderful.
For our event. And then we take a break, and then we start planning again. We usually start our planning in January, where we get together what we call a quote unquote steering committee, and start our planning from there. But since we've been doing this for 3 years, we really don't have to plan anymore. We just have to do it.
Right.
And no sense in trying to invent a new wheel. Right. Just roll with it.
Now, have you ever been in the local magazines about your event, like the Woman to Woman or the My City, Flint, or something like that?
Not as of yet.
I think that should be your next goal for next year.
Yes.
Get it in there, because I've seen those magazines and they have some of everybody local in it, and I think it's just a wonderful thing that they came out, especially the Woman to Woman, because
I'm a woman.
You're a woman. There you go. And there could be a whole section on women veterans.
Yes.
Because now you don't focus just on women. You just focus. Yours is all veterans, or is it just women?
Ours is all veterans. And a colleague of mine, Sergeant Stephanie Shannon, she was featured in Women to Women.
I saw it. I interviewed her before too.
Yes.
When she first came to town, and I saw that in there. And I know a couple of people that write for that magazine and everything. So I think that would be a good thing. Now, if you had if you just said, well, I'm going to do this only for female veterans, is there like a discrimination, or what they say you can't do that because some things are just for men, and when you hear about the female veteran, you don't hear a lot.
Well, no, there wouldn't be a discrimination. There are organizations that hold only female veteran stand-downs.
Okay.
And I just chose to do all veterans at this point. Maybe one year I might choose to do 2 stand-downs. But each a male veteran and a female veteran, we each have our different issues that we deal with. And so a female veteran stand-down deals with the issues of a female veteran strictly. And then a regular stand-down deals with all of the issues.
Everybody.
So I haven't thought to do just strictly a female stand-down. As of yet, that may be in the works one day to host one.
Right.
But I do have in the works where I want to do work with female veterans where we do our own little events, such as like we might have a tea discussion or a spa discussion or something like that I can do for our women veterans to, for them to have a special day.
Yeah, I think that would be good to have a spa day. You can have a masseuse come in and you have your massage people, and you can have a nice lunch or brunch, a little wine tasting, a little party. Oh, yes. Am I going too far? I better stop.
We are going to have a masseuse there at the stand-down. We are going to have a masseuse there, so he will be there to do both.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. Yeah, we want to make it. We want to make it fun. We want it to be serious because we want our veterans to know that we haven't forgotten about them,
right? And
that our focus is connecting veterans to the benefits that they've earned serving our country,
right?
And so,
well, you could have like the day would be the serious, and then the afternoon and evening you can turn it up. So you get the pole dancer.
Oh
group.
no!
Well, I mean, there's a girl here. They do it for exercise, and they have events at her place. So you bring in the pole dancer. Everybody can pole if they want to, and then you have all the masseuse and the nails done, your pedicures. I mean, you turn it into an event like that. I'm not saying stripper, but
no.
But I'm just saying they do exercise on the pole. I better quit, John. Stop me.
I was just sitting here saying, you always want to work in the pole. I don't know. So, I mean, it's like when we get upstairs after the studio's finished up there, we'll get that pole put in. And ever since we started this place, she wanted to put a pole. I have a pole dancer. I told him
you got to have a pole upstairs so I can bring in some dancers.
Well, exercise is good for you.
Right. I mean, it comes in all different ways.
That's true.
But is there anything else you want to talk about this event that's going on before we close up?
I just want to invite all veterans and their families. Again, the address is 601 North Saginaw Street in Flint, Michigan, 48502. And it's located at the GCCARD Banquet Room from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. And make sure you bring your DD-214 or some type of release paper stating that you are a veteran, or you can bring your veteran ID card from any VA healthcare center.
So if I just showed up in camouflage, that wouldn't be good enough?
That wouldn't be good enough. We want to make sure that you are a veteran and that, that you served our country. And
great.
Regardless of if you are in need of a service, we're not going to turn you away.
Right.
The event is for veterans.
Right.
But if there is someone homeless that may need a service, sure, we're going to help them. We're not going to turn them away. But the event is for veterans and their families.
So do you have a phone number or something that you can put up?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You can contact myself. My name is Mirium Marks-McKeown. My number is 810-333-4518. And I can get you registered as a veteran and as a vendor.
Well, that is wonderful. I'm looking forward to the event. Of course, I won't be there because I'm not a veteran, but I might show up in some camouflage. I'll be like,
Lisa, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome.
Judd, I'll be standing outside going, hey, hey, hey.
You'd be having the pole tucked. You'd have Brandon holding the pole.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, we're part of the entertainment.
Well, come and entertain us.
Oh, okay. Well, as always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And you make sure you go to www.allpointstv.com. We will be on Facebook. We will be on YouTube. And at the end of the day, I want you to make sure you get a copy of my book, because I am a survivor. And with saying that, it's Lesa Quaid, Flaminpit. We're out.
Yes.